Hi, Paul. Thank you for having me. It's really
Great
great
having
to
you
talk to you.
on. I've
Yeah,
been looking forward to this one.
yes, thanks. Me too.
Talk us through how you came to the IKS.
Well, it's almost a year now. I was just like searching for some materials to do these like umpire-based games because I had like a group before that I was doing these battles with, and I was thinking like how unique we are that we are doing these cool things and we are the only
Right,
one on the world. And then I
right.
found the IKS, and it was like a dream come true, really.
And so, what were
Like
the battles you doing with your earlier group? How were you administering those?
yeah, as well, pretty much anything. We started with like American Civil War games, and then Napoleonics, which are my most favorite, pretty much.
Okay.
And we also done many like modern ones, like the Second World War, which like me and my group we are quite knowledgeable about. But pretty much we did like anything, antiques, medieval scenarios. We
And was this in
even
person or was it through the internet?
it was almost entirely done over the internet.
Okay.
Even though like the group is all like from the same country as me, we didn't really manage to get all together all the time. So we
Yeah.
use internet a lot.
And where are you at in the world?
Well, I'm from Czech Republic, so I live
Okay.
here, like right in the center of Europe. Also, I
Yeah.
was born like right around the fall of communism in Czechoslovakia, like a few years before the country split. So I am like the first generation that even learned English. So if it's not really perfect, I'll do my best. I'm just sorry. Sometimes I have problems like to express myself quickly in spoken English.
Oh, that's fine. You should hear James after a long session. We're not even sure what language he's speaking.
Yeah, well, uh, doing like 8 hour live session is something
Right.
different. I know people might be like mumbling a bit after
That's
that.
right. We all speak Kriegsspiel Umpire after an 8-hour session,
Yeah, yeah,
making no sense, right?
yeah,
So
exactly.
which format do you prefer? Do you like, play by post or live, or what have you settled into?
Well, to be honest, I would like live games more. We did live
Okay.
games before, but like I have kids now, and not enough time like to have live games that take like 4, 6, 8 hours straight. So right now I'm doing PvPs, and it's just like working for me right now. But I would like to go back to live games eventually.
And so what form of a live game would be best? You want it a little shorter, or what are your thoughts on that?
Oh, well, I would like to do it like as fast as possible with
Mhm.
short turns and to play it quickly. But you know how it goes. Like if you want to have a good game, it takes some time. You can do it like in a rush.
Right, right. Just the setup alone is gonna be, quite a bit of time.
Exactly,
Right.
exactly.
And so in terms of you had with your friends prior to the IKS, you were modeling a lot of different periods. Uh, what periods do you find yourself doing mostly with Kriegspiel?
The Napoleonic Wars.
Okay.
Surely, like that's the era I love the most. I was like really amazed by it when I was a little kid and I got my first like toy soldiers,
Right, right.
and so it's love of my life for like the last 30 years. So that's the era I like the most and that I know the most about. And we did like many battles, historical battles, fictive battles, many campaigns, and it's just like the best era for me, really. But to be honest, since I joined IKS, I probably did most of my games like the Second World War.
Okay.
Just it's somehow it happened. Like we did a lot of those games before as well, so
Yeah.
it wasn't like something bad for me. I enjoy Second World War, and I enjoy like operation level games, like bit scale games, and it goes for Napoleonics too. Like I like the whole engagement, like do the whole battle, and if possible do even the campaign, as it gets like the whole picture of the warfare and all the problems that you have to solve, the movement, relocation, positioning, which is like the most important thing, to be honest. And it's just so amazing to do it like as a whole and
So
not just like a smaller part.
to capture the whole battle, how do you like to do your research?
Well, uh, the research like starts with reading anything like pretty much possible at the matter. So I've like read dozens of books about Napoleonic Wars at the era. And now, if I want to do like a battle itself, I just try to find like most info I can get. Like you can start, of course, with some basic sources like Wikipedia and YouTube videos, and you can just search the net
Right.
for some more information about the battle, and you try to like find out the order of battle, like of that engagement. And I love to make my own maps. I don't like to use like pre-done ones. So
Okay.
it's joy of mine to do maps for pretty much all the battles I can do, except of course for the modern ones where like you can have anything you want at hand. And
What software do you use for your maps and
I use Wonderdraft the
okay.
most. It's like neat little software. It's out there since I think 2018, so I'm using it like for 7 years now, and it's quite good for these tactical maps. It's absolute blast. You can like quickly learn how to use it, and it has many very good tools.
I
And if
think you
I
just posted a tactical map just like today, right? I think or yesterday. I just
maybe, well, but that was like just some
offering
sort
one up.
of,
Yeah, I
yes,
saw it.
yes,
It was
yes,
inside of one.
like the style. If one of the players there like a style, like I might do a map as well. Like I did the map for Litzen for my masterpiece
Uh-huh.
previously, and I think like it's nice.
Sure.
I don't want to like sound cocky or anything, but I like to do it like I like to have the personal touch of me, like how it is portrayed and how it looks, even though it might not be like 100% accurate. But Wonderdraft has one very good feature, and that is that you can import uh, a screenshot. So I took a
Right.
screenshot from Arcanum Maps, and it goes there, and it will like make the layout of all the roads and all the hills and all the
Yeah.
like villages, and I will just make it like graphically pleasant for me to look at.
Do
And
you cover this the screenshot up completely with what you've created, or do you keep the screenshot there and then just highlight it?
no, I like do it myself entirely. I just
Right.
like I use it for reference to have like villages at the exact spot they should be, and roads like where they should be, and rivers and everything. But I then paint it myself, everything.
Okay. No, I don't use. I've actually downloaded Wonder Draft early on and checked it out, but does it have layers like the other program?
Yes, yeah, well, actually, you have like many different layers for different things, like
Yeah.
for paths, for rivers, for symbols, for text, for anything. So it's quite good. But for example, when I'm doing like operation level Second World War games, I'm using, for example, GIMP, and I will open the a map, like the actual map of that era, and
Right.
I will do layers and do like the unit lines and numbers and anything, and it's very very good and very quickly, very
How
quick.
do you for an operational game? It
Yeah.
demands a lot of room. How do you choose the amount of size you're going to put on a map so that it's feasible to actually play with? Or how do you go about thinking about that?
Well, as I said, like I like the whole package. So,
Right.
like for example, right now I'm doing like the invasion of Poland, 1939,
You are.
and it is like a grand game in very complex one, like to like great detail, and it's done on like 11 maps, 11 individual maps of that era, in 1 to 500,000 scale. So it's really like very very big. But when I like send these maps to players, it's like exactly as they would receive them, like in the staff in the HQ. Like you have these three maps and your units on them, and you have
Right.
to find out like how it is, and they will get like the written report of all their units, their supplies, their casualties, and these things, if they are able to get that report. And I'm not really like intimidated, but by the size and work you have to put into it. And It's better, in my opinion, to like do it properly and even go big, but than to do it like more simple way or only part of that campaign, because there are
Right.
many things, everything's adds up, and each unit can like have an impact on another unit or another front. So I want to picture it like pretty much all. And of course, like this one game is very complex. It's not like I do all my games this complex. I have like dozens of systems really that I've developed over the last like 15 years, and many of those are very simple ones. And
Right.
I think like for Kriegspiel, for majority of games, it's just best to have like a simple system, and not something really difficult. But just sometimes I like to do like big, very complex games for example, Second World War buffs that really enjoy like all the complexity of the game, that they can see like yeah, it's for example, it's like Second World War scenario, operational level, but I track more than 7,500 companies, individual companies in the game,
Oh, you
and
do.
millions of soldiers, and millions of tons of supplies, and
And how do you
uh,
track that on a spreadsheet, or is there another
yes,
program?
yes, I've developed a calculator over the years, that like Excel calculator, because I don't know like in some access coding that I would be able to do some like software of my own, but I know Excel a bit, so I've done it there, and I've made like a great automation into it, so that it's fast for me. Like I can do that
Right.
like quite fast. When I'm doing like classic smaller scale operation level games from the Second World War, like was Dukla 1944 or Melitopol 1941, which had like, for example, 200,000 soldiers or 300,000 soldiers in it, the resolution takes like 35 minutes. It's fast because
Really?
like the automation of the system allows you to do things quickly. Like I have two divisions, I want them to fight. I just go for the calculation sheet. I select the division. I can
Uh-huh.
just it's like type the name of the division. It will load all the data I need. I will like use the relevant data in the calculator, and then I will, with one click, I will like send the results back into the roster sheet. So will automatically update, and I don't have to look it up like manually all the
And
time.
how do you insert randomness into that? Uh, how does that work?
Well, like in the calculation, you have rolls, you have like dices there. So if you have like the combat roll, you use the firepower of the infantry, firepower of the artillery. Then you will have automatically done roll automatically done roll of a dice, and it will there's equation that will take account of like the weather and the commitment of the soldiers. That like if the player says that they are just doing a probing attacks or like assaults and these things, and it will like in like a second it will calculate you the casualties and the supplies used, which is derived automatically from the firepower that is used right away, and it calculates it in like tons. So it aims to do it in like realistic measures, and
Amazing.
the smallest level of casualty is like one tank, one plane, one gun, and 16 men, which
Okay.
is the lowest level.
So
And yeah,
let's talk about your Poland,
yeah.
1939. What level does the player play?
The players are in general like army commanders. Like
Okay.
each of those like big armies, which had of course like CIC, they have several other armies and army groups, and all these are players, and the rest are like staff officers, because it can be like a lot of work for one like player to do everything with one army. So like for example, one of those guys do logistics, the other give orders to like ground units, and another one writes orders for the air force, another one is like liaison officer and goes to the other army to see the situation there and go
Uh-huh.
back with report. And I must say like the effort of the players is amazing. Like those who are like, actively playing, it's I think a lot of work. It's really for Second World War buffs. It's not like for uh,
Right.
ordinary people who just want to have like quick fun. It's not it's
Yeah, that's
like
not a
demanding.
casual
It's
game.
demanding. It's like that's how it is. And those who are playing daily, I think I hope they are enjoying it. I certainly am, and I can see like the amount of work they're putting into it. But like the more you invest, the more you remember the game, the like what it was and
Well,
how
let's
it
take it
went.
back to your sheet because that's an
Yeah.
amazing accomplishment that you created that. So you have players at the army level, but your sheet calculates down to a very granular level. How do you choose the report that you give back to the player?
Well, the basic units there are like divisions. So they will
Okay.
take a divisional report to them. So they will have a report of okay, our division is located here, and we were attacked by this enemy unit. And for example, we took like some casualties probably today. Our supply status is okay, and we are holding. Or they will get a report that they have a problem with contact with some of their units. They might be cut off, and they will get only like a very basic report and some basic markings on map with like question marks because like they don't really know where their units are located at the
Right.
moment, and some might be even lost at the moment, cut off or surrendered already.
So even though your calculator calculates at a very granular level, they get a division report basically.
Yes, yes, because they
Okay.
are like army commanders. They won't get
Right.
like a report from some company or some battalion or things like this, because like it might seem like very complex or anything, and the calculation might be complex, but it's actually quite abstracted and rather
Hmm.
easy to use. I don't want like difficult tasks and difficult things to do. I like things if they are like streamlined and easy to do, and that's why I like did this calculator to help me to do it quickly, to help me to do like a battle that is at a very complex and very detailed level, and I can do it quickly. So I don't it
Was
don't take like several hours to do a
Yeah,
simple
right.
turn.
I know the several hour resolution.
Yeah, that's
You know,
demanding.
Yarrow sticks. You know,
Yeah.
what what was there an inspiration for the calculator? Did you draw from another rule set that gave you some of those ideas?
I must say, like, it's not like entirely my discovery or something. Like, it's thing that we have been working on with my old group for like several years. Like
Okay,
the first version of the system were played like 10 years in the past, and over the years we've changed many of those calculations so that it gives like a really realistical data, realistical
right.
casualty rates, and from like even the past, for example, five games, I can say that yes, it gives like good results, because like I am approaching systems probably a bit differently, because like at the IKS, you know that many people say like the casualties are not the most important part of the system, which yes, it's probably true, but then again, I like to do like operation level games or campaigns where like to know exact casualties is important. Like the player might not know the
Sure.
exact casualties at the time, because it's not realistic for them to know exact casualties at the time, but I have to know it because like I have to update their army afterwards, so that like they can continue campaigning, and there must be some attrition and all these things. So that's why I always took care for the casualties in my systems, to calculate them, even in my Napoleonic systems, to just have some basic understanding of like what the unit might be, like at what status it might be, like if the casualties are bad or just low, or how it looks like, or how long is it fighting, so if it is exhausted or not. So I have several easy tracking systems to like really know how it goes. Either I use like the calculators, or I use like dice only systems,
Right.
because it's easy. You just like add one counter to the unit, and in TTS you just create states like of the tokens. So with just pressing like two buttons, you can switch between them and follow like
So a unit
the
has
casualty
different,
rates.
basically, stages of
Yes, yes, yes.
capacity. How do you model supply? What's your philosophy on modeling supply?
Like supply is very important, and especially the bigger the game, the bigger the impact of supply. So logistics are very important. They have to be portrayed somehow in operational level games. Of course, if you're doing some like one-off battle, you don't have to like portray it at all, but in bigger games you do. And like in my systems I have like three or four systems how to use or how to do logistics. One is like very complex, like I use in Poland, where I count everything to a ton, and you have to really use calculator for that, because it would take like a very long time for you to do it like on your own. But for just some simpler games, I just like to use very simple rules, either with some basic abstract like supply points, or without any supply points, and just with like supply flow that the players have to design like depots, and they have
Yeah.
like some quartermaster units that have some range, and they can connect these depots to their like main unit. And
Right.
if they connect it, then they are supplied, it's okay. And if they are out of this zone, they are like undersupplied. But and if they are like really far away, they have no supplies, and they can't do any offensive actions, and they have severe like penalties, attrition, these things. And to be honest, if I just want to have like a normal fun and I want to do it quickly, I would go for the last system, because it's quick and it's sufficient for majority of games.
So these are play by post with this level of complexity, obviously.
Yeah, yeah.
And then, so tactical Napoleonic games is your live. That's your live preference.
Oh, yeah, probably. Yes, that would be what I would like to do most. Because, of course, when you are doing play by posts, as many people mentioned, players have more than enough time to really think about everything, every possibility, and you have less and less mistakes in those games
Right.
when players have like enough time. So keeping like the turn length low, like just few minutes for them to really come up with a plan is best, to force some mistakes, because
Right.
like that's how battles went. Like players generals didn't make mistakes because they have like 3 days to think about it,
Right.
and then
Right.
suddenly they do a stupid thing. Yeah,
Oftentimes they didn't even know what was happening as their
yeah,
subordinates closest to them.
exactly, exactly.
So, what's your philosophy on leadership in the team? So, do you like all new players to your game? Do you pick your CICs? We just had this discussion in the active umpires. How do
Yeah.
you approach
Yeah,
setting up the team?
I would say I do it differently pretty much each time I do a game. Sometimes I do pick CIC, sometimes I let the players decide on their own, especially if they are like newer players. Uh, but like in many of my games, I have several players that played in most of them. So if someone is like capable, sometimes I just pick them to be like the CIC if they want it. Uh,
Right.
because like not everyone wants to be a CIC, because of course it's like extra work, and you have the responsibility for the whole battle. You are the
Right.
one that they are they are angry uh,
Right.
after the battle went
And you
wrong.
have to live with the results.
Yes, exactly,
Uh,
exactly.
okay.
But
And
yeah,
go ahead. Sorry.
I just meant like to tell that to be honest, like I'm one of those guys who thinks that like the size of the game, uh, or how to put it better, uh, it's not like more people means or equals more fun, for me at least.
Right.
Maybe it's because like I had this group that was like 10 people at the peak, or 12. So maybe it's because of that, but I personally think that it's not necessary to have like many people in your games to enjoy it or to have fun. And my philosophy in this is pretty much to have the least players that you can, so that the battle still is like doable. Because more often than not, I've seen like huge games that had problems to really resolve because like it was just a big workload, and
Right.
it was really unnecessary. Uh, for example, if I do like this big battle, like Leeson was with like together there was what, like maybe 250,000 soldiers, and I did it with what was it? I think 16 commanders, 17 commanders, and like it's not a low number, but for game this big, like it's okay, I would say. And it's because I went for the players being like only corps commanders and army commanders, and just like the second in commands could be given like or delegated independent command of some like division if it was needed. And the battle was done with the basic like tactical pieces being brigades. Like all battalions were stimulated, but the players were not giving orders to battalions but to the brigades. And at that game, if you were like a brigade commander, it would be boring as hell.
Right.
And many times I see like in many games that they are having too many players, with the players not really having like engaging experience. Because like if you are this brigade commander at battle of this scale, of course, uh, you are locked in because you have one allied brigade to your left, second allied brigade to your right, and your only option is either to go forward or like to go back, and
Right.
you have no independence in your command. And that's something which is not really engaging. People might like feel engaged for a while, but that's when a lot of these dropouts like happen because the people are not engaged. And when you are at a position of like a corps commander, you have all the independence you want, and you can have like a very dramatic impact on the game, and that's engaging, that's thrilling, and you are constantly being given these difficult decisions to make, like to attack, to hold, to wait for orders. I don't have no, I have no orders from the CIC. What do I do? And so for me, it's better to have like players at the meaningful positions than to have like a lot of them.
I think you make an excellent point, and it really inspires the thought that if a player does not have a decision to make every single turn, that you lose their interest.
Yeah, well, maybe it doesn't have to be every single turn, but they should be engaged. It's
Yeah.
like it might be exercise, it might be game, but it should be like engaging for them. They should have something to like take care about. Of course, if you do like a smaller level scenario, like at the division versus division, with like the smallest pieces that you can give command to are either companies or battalions, and of course, being a brigade commander is totally valid, and you have many things to like take care about. Yeah, but in like bigger games, I think it's a position that players don't really like enjoy that much because they have no independence in their command. They can like express themselves, their thoughts, their mastermind, strategic and tactical mastermind. So
Yeah.
it's better to give them the possibility and to have also like less or fewer players, and it's easier for you to resolve these games quickly, and people will be like engaged all the time. They will enjoy it, they will like it, they will like text you that they want more and they want the place in another game. And that's like the very nice part when you get the recognition for a scenario well designed. Yeah. And
Yeah. Right.
of course it's,
I'm
yeah.
I agree with you. In the philosophy of that is you the fewer number of players, and as an umpire, you can keep an eye on people. And if you see a player is in a position where they can't make any decisions, or they don't have the anything interesting happening, you can help
Yeah,
bring that along.
I would give one more example, and it's
Sure.
again from Litzen. like the French were like marching towards Litzen, and they started quite like far away from Litzen. And there was the Fifth Corps, I believe it was, of Eugene, that was marching like for several kilometers, and it was done like by one player. It was Heiko, I believe, and he was the corps commander. So like at the last third of the battle, or in the half of the battle, he get like to the battlefield itself, and then he was able to do some decisions. But for example, his last two brigades were not engaged at all. So if
Right.
those were like players, they would
Right.
just have marching simulator for like 2 months with no engagement at all, and that's like where I would feel that I failed them. I failed to deliver like some engaging and thrilling like experience. So that's why I rather not have them as players, but as NPCs. But this is like a
Agree.
big
I agree.
scale game. Yeah.
But I guess how do
Yes.
you think about the fact that not all the units will engage, and you want to get the players where there's engagement, but you can't tell that ahead of time. How do you just fewer players? Is what else do you do to make sure?
Well, I don't recall a single situation where some player in my last like 10 games since I joined the IKS last summer. I don't recall a single game where one of the players like would have just a marching simulator for the whole game, and it's because
Okay.
I have fewer players for the games of the scale I do, and I think it's like the best decision, because of
Yeah.
many times the players are given positions just because there are these positions that might have a player in them, but it's not really necessary. Like it all goes to the scale of your game. Like if you are doing division versus division, there's probably no reason for you to have like a battalion commander, like at Napoleonic scale, because what would he do? He would just wait for orders of his brigade commander, and he would either attack or stay in place. Yeah, or like
Right.
some company commander or something like really really small. So it's better to have like fewer players at meaningful spots, because many of those things, if like some commander will attack or not, like it's like you can call it, you can resolve it on your own. You don't have to have like some player to just do this for the whole game and to be bored because of it, because he was not able to do any like meaningful decision on his own. Yeah, because he
I don't
didn't
know.
have
I
like
think it
independent
changes
command.
per period, obviously,
Yes, of course, like that.
but the
That's like very very different at each period, because of course in more like modern games it changes like like vastly, uh, because the combat at lower level is very different and much more active and much more dependent on the conduct of individual soldiers and their decision making. Uh,
right. And so if you take and have the smallest unit taken, if when you umpire, you take into account the fact that when a unit is in combat, only a small percentage of that unit is actually doing the fighting. Uh, that changes per period, obviously.
yes.
You need to make sure the players are in a position that they always have one part of their whole unit fighting. So if they're the brigade commander, they have one battalion that's in action.
Yeah. Yeah.
So you
Yes.
know,
Yeah. It's a very interesting topic, and like as everything, it depends on the scale or the battle that you are doing. But in general, yes, and it's also one of the reasons why I like doing like higher scale battles. Like for example, like at the Napoleonics, I like to do like whole battles, because uh, you can portray it in more simple way, I believe. Like the lower
when you say
the
whole battles, do you mean multi-day, or talk a little bit about that?
like okay, for me, I believe that doing a Napoleonic battle, like for example Austerlitz, is more simple than realistically portraying a smaller level combat of like two battalions and like one cavalry squadron and like some skirmishes, because at the lower level it's much more like, it can be much more chaotic, much more dependent on like the conduct of each soldier, and it's less abstract. and it can be really wild. Like, for example, if you like read some accounts from the war, like every imaginable result of a combat of two battalions can happen.
Right.
And it can be like, okay, they can fight for half an hour and have minimal casualties, or they can fight for 5 minutes and like there can be 50% casualties and one of the
Right.
battalions is totally routed, and it's okay. It's both of these things happen. As well as, for
Right.
example, you can have like the basic knowledge of like, okay, if I do like square formation, I will repel cavalry. And of course there are many accounts when that didn't work out, or like infantry that will go into a village and make it a strong point so that they are very well positioned against cavalry charge. Okay, you have several like accounts of, for example, at Elkingen, the Austrian cuirassiers that came, like one squadron of like 150 cuirassiers came to a village, they dismounted and attacked a village on foot with just their sabers, and they fought off entire French infantry battalion. Yeah,
Right.
and okay, which system would portray that? Yeah, and
Right.
and
Well,
that's that's what I think. It's
it's a very knowledgeable umpire who
it,
knows that that's a possibility,
yeah. Well, there were several
right?
others like the
Because
Hohenzollern
there's no
and
way you could
Chevalier.
have a spreadsheet that would hold that
Yeah, yeah,
event,
of course, and
right?
nothing like that's up to like the umpire's judgment. And why I want to tell that at this lower level, anything goes. Like the best thing to do is just to have like 2d6 and do like whatever you think that might happen. And like
Yeah,
of
right.
course anyone can attack it, but it's not like impossible for it to happen.
You know, I
Like,
when you say that, I made the comment about the battalion being 5 minutes or an hour.
yeah,
It it brings me to mind a mathematical graph of that variance. So a
yeah,
battalion has a very large variance
yes,
every
that's
5 minutes or an hour.
yeah,
But as you go
exactly.
up in scale, a brigade is going to have
Yes,
a
it's
more it's going
different.
to have a tighter or a smaller
Yes,
variance,
and that's
right?
exactly why I like higher scale. It gets more
Yeah, yeah.
statistical and more predictable. Because
But I
like if
wonder
you
too if you can actually model the variance to a point where you
yes,
know that a resolution is reasonable in 2 turns, whatever your
yes,
turn length is, right?
yeah, well, yeah, if you have two battalions fighting, it can go either way with a very like
Right.
big difference of casualties. But if you have like for example two brigades, similar size brigades fighting for half an hour, there is like statistical like
Yeah,
spread of casualties that is like 2 to 5%. and
right.
and that's it, and that's very easy for you to portray. Okay, one of the, if it's 5% in like two different scenarios. In one scenario, like the two frontal battalions had some smaller like casualties, and it was okay. And in another scenario, like one of the battalions was not damaged at all and the other one broke with like massive casualties. But at the brigade level it's still 5% casualties, and
Right,
okay. Yeah, so it gets
right.
more statistical and better and easier for an umpire to really resolve it. And that's why it's like so fast to do like bigger battles. Yeah, many people are like afraid of doing like a really big complex battle with all the units there, are intimidated by the sheer number of units. But you just have to select the right system and the right like basic unit, because of
I like
course
what you're saying though,
yeah,
because there's a mental flexibility that you're pointing to in that we tend to think in the IKS that players should play a regiment or they should play a brigade with multiple regiments,
yeah,
depending on the era. And so then if you're gonna do Gettysburg, you've got to have 60 players. Where
yeah,
in fact
yeah.
you can have an excellent game of Gettysburg with 8 players.
Exactly, you can have like a very little amount of players, low amount of players, and you can have a blast. Yeah, uh,
Yeah,
uh,
yeah, I think it's a great point, and I hear you a lot. I'm sitting here thinking about this because we do tend to want to add in more and more players, but in fact, some of the best games are the smaller ones in terms of player
yes,
count.
like of course, doing like a big game like the Grand Gettysburg or other grand games, it's something like special. Yes, of course, there
Correct.
you like that's it's great if you can do it to this level of detail, but that's like 1 a year game. Yeah, and all your games doesn't have to be don't have to be like this. You can have game of Gettysburg exactly as you said, with like players, or a little bit more, as just core commanders, and you will have a blast, and all the players will be thrilled with all the decisions they will have to make. It will be really like brainstorming and exercise for them to do something, because they won't be just like the one little regiment in the front that has two
Right.
options to do. Which is
Right.
fun, of course, as well, but maybe for a live game where you do it like once in a while. But if you have to do like play by post for 2 or 3 months, and you have no real independent command,
Right. And
that's
then you're
that's
gonna
not
lose.
really engaging. Yeah.
What
uh,
if in the umpiring process, from the research to the
yes.
maps to the pieces to the putting it together to actually running the game and then feeding back to the players how
Yeah.
they did, which is the most fun for you? Which part?
Most fun, I would say, probably uh, communication with other people.
Okay.
I love that because in many of my games, I've met like tremendous amount of like great people, and even the majority of new players that have like absolutely no experience are just so great, so polite, and I enjoy like the passion of like the history, and passion of the hobby, and that's something that I really enjoy to see, to have a dialogue with someone who loves the history just as me, and we can like discuss some topics, some matters, anything. So I love that. And in many of my games, I had, especially with newer players, I had like very long discussions with them, where I was like giving them advice, like for example after the battle, giving them like reports and advice, like what might be the mistake and what to expect. And uh, like it's not like cavalry is just like hard counter of artillery, and if you attack artillery with cavalry head on, that you might get blasted like out. Yeah. And these things, and like when you see someone who is passionate about it, it just brings me joy.
It's
I
great.
just love it. So it's probably hanging out with other people and discussing with them. It's the best part for me. Other than that, I would say that mm, it's hard to say. I love everything: map making, creating, designing. I'm also like one of the people that like to create something. Like I've been doing like D&Ds and everything. I'm like the
Okay.
forever dungeon master, and I just love to create stories and scenarios and these things. And like you have that saying that you don't have to reinvent the wheel, so you don't have to make new systems. I totally have to reinvent the wheel. I totally have to like try to think everything like out and how it might work. I just like enjoy it quite a
I
lot,
think
so I like to do
I
it.
think that's well. First of all, the Dungeons and Dragons is an excellent background for umpiring because when you first do that, you have to do what we do as umpires, and that's create the game
Yeah.
with a set of rules and everything. But I was listening to a podcast on game design, and the advice that the game designer gave in terms of getting started was take a game that you love and reinvent it,
Yeah.
add rules, homebrew it, and that's
Exactly.
reinventing the wheel, and that's the fun part, right?
Yes, but like it's one of the best parts when
Oh,
you think about something and how to portray it realistically, and when it finally, after like 3 dozens of tries and test games, it works, then it's like really great, and
yeah.
really good. Because
The-
of course, you can think that theoretically your system works, but you have to like play it like hell several times,
That's right.
many times, to really see like flaws. When I was like creating my first systems, like in 2010 or 2011, uh, I was changing them mid game with like my group, yeah, because I just found out
Yeah,
that something is not working, and I didn't want to like call the game. So just like between turns, if it was like play by post, then I just like worked on the system and changed it right away. So like just after one battle, the system was completely different because
right.
I had to scrap like almost everything. Yeah, and I did that like for several time, several battles, and
I've
uh,
upgraded pieces during a
yes,
game. So
yeah,
like in
yeah,
this game, just
exactly. I did
slowly
it
the
too.
pieces
Yeah.
change and all through states, and then the players kind of know, but they don't know. That suddenly the pieces are getting better as the game goes on,
Yes, exactly, exactly.
which is the brilliant career of an umpire. You can get away with that.
Yes, but then you have like some feedback from the player, like, "Oh, like those are new pieces. I like that. It's better." Yeah, and that's
Yeah,
just
right.
great. Like
Changing
mid-game
the
change.
so the is the Poland 1939 campaign, is that going now?
Yes, that's going right now. It's going for like a month and a half, and
Okay.
it will go like I believe for 4 more months, maybe even longer, because like we are doing only one turn a week, because it's like so big, and all the staff members must discuss so much things that they need the time. They really need like those 5 days to like think everything through and brainstorm about what to do. And I just love to see like all the activity. It would be like hundreds or thousands of pages of like just text that they've sent to each other and plan things, and like it's just great. Like of course it's just for like Second World War buffs, because no one else would probably enjoy that, but it's
Yeah.
just great. Like
And you just do one game at a time, or do you like to have another one going?
I to be honest, I have like another one starting very soon, which is like a fictive scenario again, Second World War, the Soviet invasion of Hungary. It's not operational level; it's with like battalion pieces, and I started it with like in the umpiring training program that I have on my hub. There was like new player coming to us, like the bell peppers, that was interested in umpiring, and this scale was something that he was like passionate about. So we started the game like for him to umpire with me. So we get a few players, and we'll just like rock it and show him the ropes and how to do it. And because like I have my old server where we were like doing games before, and
Uh-huh.
I have like a small channel there, like for anyone that's like pretty much interested in umpiring. So I have like I don't know how many, maybe
So is it
seven
unusual for you
people.
to have an assistant umpire in a play-by-play?
No, no, no. I in general I like to do my games alone. But for example, for the Poland game, I have like another player, another umpire, Philip, or is known as Pono on the
And how do
IKS.
you split the work with your assistant umpire when you do have one?
Well, it depends. Like at this scale, he helps me a lot with like all the flavor stuff, like getting newspapers, getting like these little flavor things for people. And then I, for example, ask him to like make me a rundown on, for example, what the Air Force is doing, so that I can just then crunch it quickly in the calculator, and I don't have to go through all the orders. So we'll
Yeah,
just like
right.
make me a paper, like okay, like this
Or he goes into the
squadron.
orders, kind of pulls from the orders the key bits.
Yes, 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 and he will give me a rundown of what just is happening. He will
I
tell.
think that's an interesting model. You've triggered
Yeah.
an idea there, because really that is the hard part, is going in and reading all of the,
Yes.
particularly the planning channels, or when the staffs are
Yes.
talking, right?
Yes, yes, but well, we have like either thread or a channel where they can talk all they want, and they have like one special orders channel where they put only their orders and nothing else, so I can like quickly review it. But I must say it is better now. But at the beginning, like a lot of players, especially new ones, have like this feeling that they have to micro a lot. Like it's a PC game. Like they units
Right.
have no like mind, and they will just not do anything and stand idly in the place if they don't give them any orders, or if their orders are just very very basic, that they will fail. But it's not true. Like at least in my games, and I think it's in most games, players don't lose game because of lack of micro. They lose the
No, right.
games because either their plan was bad, or not bad, but like the other side was better, or they had some like misfortune in the combat, like that happens. a lot. Yeah,
Right.
some units breaking in the worst part of the battle. It just happens, but it's not due to lack of a micro. You don't have to like order all your units specifically what they do, and if something happens they will do like this, and if something else happens they will do that. Yeah, and these things. I always tell my players that the more complicated the orders are, the greater is the chance that I will misinterpret them and do a mistake. And if I do a mistake, their subordinate make a mistake, and it
I
just
got
goes. Yeah, so they better do their orders very clear and short, because my mistake is just like some officer, some subordinate officer making a mistake in the game.
misreading an order and
Yes,
them
yes,
not
exactly,
explaining it.
because it was like too complicated for them. Yeah, that's it.
It's always the danger, right? Yeah.
Yes,
I
yes.
think that's right. That's right. Uh, That's so interesting. I'm just sitting here thinking about some of the things you've proposed, which is great. What do you think? You got a World War II going. What do you think your what project would be one that you'd have kind of in your mind's eye that would be fun for a next one?
Well, very soon we will start another Napoleonic game with
Okay.
Mortel. He's one of the like great guys, the IKS, and he's umpired his first like game right now. It's finished. It was the Miranda newcomers game, and it was a blast. And now we will do a Napoleonic game with my system, like in a short time. He has some like exams right now, so after that, and we like want to start, or we would like to start some Napoleonic campaigns,
Okay.
because I have like my older quite simple systems for like these battles that I used like several years back, and I want to revive it.
Okay.
Because ever since I found the IKS, it like gave me the second wind to do these battles and everything. Because before that, like
Did any of your original group follow you to the IKS?
yeah,
Two guys.
three guys from the
Okay.
like the whole of 12 people was at the peak, I think 10 or 12. And one of them, that's Mr. Tsurus, he's like active. He has done like 3 or 4 battles already. He's having like a fictive world, world building like at the Bronze Age, and he's doing battles there at campaign. So he has already like I think four Bronze Age battles
Okay.
done, and other two are just like playing, just like players, and they are not like that active. They have a lot of things
Do
going
you
on.
play at all?
I do, but only every now and then. I've played a
Right.
bit when I started, when I joined the IKS. I've played several games, but maybe like 5 or 6 for the last like pretty much year. I just like I've played a lot like with the original group for the last 15 years, and I just don't enjoy it as much as being the Empire,
Right.
because then I can play the whole game. Like yes, I have given that I have a lot of like smaller amount of players. You have to do some thinking for those like AI or
Yeah.
NPCs and these things. So
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
it's very interesting to just like do a quick brainstorming what might be best to do at this situation. And I also have like a very simple system where the like NPCs have some basic like status if they're active or passive, and based on that I tend to roll and just think what they might do, like if they will be more aggressive, or if they will be just like reactive and they will just hold ground and want to
Right. Right.
use like advantage if
What's
they
a
are getting
reasonable
it.
course of action they would
Yeah,
take? We
yes,
got to be
exactly.
sure.
But one would think that I would need to do it a lot if I have like the small amount of players, but it's not really true. Because yeah, if I have a player who is like core commander at Napoleon game, and he has like 4 brigades or 6 brigades, he gives orders to those brigades. So I don't have to really like think a lot by myself. And at those brigades, at their level, I simulate also the battalions. So there is like a national flag with the name of the brigade, and they have like 5 battalions in some basic formation, and the number of those battalions in combat dictates like how fast the combat is, like how fast they're losing cohesion and casualties and these things. So even if it's like brigade level, the smallest units, the battalions, are also simulated. It's not like totally abstracted.
Right. Right.
Yeah, because like brigade versus brigade combat can be very very different each time. You can have only like the skirmishers fighting, or you can have from like the 6 battalions, a brigade has only 2 can be fighting, or 4 can be fighting, or all can be fighting if it's like
Right.
some severe situation. And it's quite fun to like then write the reports to the players, like what is going on, what is happening, like what was the rhythm of the combat and what happened there, and why their brigade was retreating and why the other succeeded and pushed it. And you can like write very short but meaningful reports that will tell them like how it's going on. Like for example, like one of the battalions started wavering, and the brigade commander ordered to replace like the battalion mid battle, mid shooting, and they just didn't like do it properly in time. So the other brigade commander saw it as a weakness and he called for a charge, so they charged, and the enemy retreated because they were in no position to really receive the charge and fight. And
Right.
people tend to like it a lot, like this explanation of what is going on. And it's
Yeah,
like
that's
two
great.
sentences,
That
one or
comes
two sentences. It's
that, that
nothing
that
fancy.
comes from reading a lot.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
you've
that's
read so
that's
many
true.
accounts that you're remembering accounts of how the feel of that went versus rolling a die and saying, "Oh, well, you had a good die roll, so therefore you
Yes,
passed."
yes. And it's like nothing that would take a lot of time. It's just like some basic reports. Sometimes if I have the time, I like to like write very big reports. But I think that it's better to keep your reports short and clear, and
Yep.
then to give another like article of some flavor. Because if you
Yeah.
give it
Right.
all in one big article, players won't read it through, and they
No,
might
not
miss
really.
things, and it's not good. It's better to have
They look
just
at
like a very very simple
they look at
rundown of what is
they
happening.
want to know what happened, right?
Yes, exactly. They will know that like some soldier was hit by a ball and it's bleeding profusely and it's bad. Yeah, and
Every detail has to somehow contribute
yes,
to the
exactly.
decisions they make, or it's just extra fluff.
Exactly,
Um,
exactly.
what advice would you give to a new umpire? You started even before you came to the IKS doing games. What advice would you give someone just starting out?
Like I think a lot of others already told the most important things, like try not to start too big. But
Yeah,
for me, it would be like uh, try not to start too big in the matter of number of players. You can do big
that's
battles in
good.
just
Yeah,
like with just few people, and it's easier and it will be more realistic because it's like more statistical and like
yeah.
easier for you to really portray realistically. And what would be probably my like biggest advice to of them would be like just try to be passionate about it. It's when you feel that you just love some scenario, some war, something, just go for it, do it. And if you turn that passion like into like hard work, it will like you will have a result, you will have a great game and everybody will love it. And it doesn't have to be big, it doesn't have to be very complex, but just you can just like relay the energy, like that you love something, you love the game, and people will know it and they will enjoy it very much. And with that, I would also tell people to try to stay professional about it,
Hmm.
because I always say like, okay, it's game, technically it's a game, but it's not like some online game where you log in for 20 minutes and it's just for your like enjoyment. Yeah, this is a project. Every battle is a project of like umpire or several umpires and players, and together they all like work together to have like great time together.
Hmm. It's
And
a good
if
point.
someone like jeopardize it, it ruins it for everyone. So
That's
try
a
to
really good.
be try to be like professional. If you did a game, if you like designed the game, you started like you
Finish
kind
it.
of made a promise to deliver like the good time, so just finish it. Just
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
yes, it might be hard, it might be like, of course there might be some like really bad things happening IRL and you have to call it, but most of the time those games are not called because of that. Yeah, and
I think that's a great.
it's
That's
it's
a really
it's like,
a
if you
great
are
point. Yeah.
working, you have to be like professional. You just sign for it, deliver it. It's same as if you are a player and you sign for it, then like complete it, or like be direct with the umpire. Just tell them like, okay, I don't have time for this, please like find
Right.
someone else. I just like ghosting, it's just like the most unpleasant thing that can happen, like to
Right.
everyone. It's like, we are adults here, like we are supposed to be able to like talk normally to ourselves.
No, it's a great point. If you've come from total war, where you have a piece of
uh,
software and you just shut it off or you reset it, you
yeah.
just get into certain habits, and then it might not be as clear when you join
uh,
this that you're actually
and
impacting people's time and people's lives.
if you
So
are
it's
like polite and true, you can make very good friends along the line that will like to play with you like anytime, and you can have great time with this hobby. So it
yeah.
pays like for you to be real with it, to be true and professional. Yeah,
What a terrific conversation. Gosh, I've really enjoyed. You've given me a lot to think about. I'm sitting
thanks,
here kind of
thanks.
staring off into space because some tremendous points that you've made, and I'm sure everyone's going to really enjoy this. Would love to
I hope
have
so.
you back on after a few more campaigns. We can learn some more, and I
Sure.
guarantee you someone's going to ask you for that spreadsheet. So just be ready for that.
Yeah,
So,
I already
Brian,
have several people.
yeah, thanks so much for coming on. It's been really great talking.
Yes, thank you for doing this. It's great initiative. Thank you.